If you'd like to learn all about chickens, I've made a chicken book to help you. You can get it by clicking the link in the description below. Welcome to Becky's Homestead. When your chickie babies get a little older and they're fully feathered, I call them biddies because they're little itty bitty chickens by then. That's what they look like. Now I'm going to show you how to take care of them when they're this age. You can move them outside, and it's kind of the next phase of their life. I move them out to my barn, which is covered, of course. And then the tub I keep them in has tall sides, so no wind will blow on them and no rain, might blow in here on them. I made a very nice wire top to cover it so they can't jump out because they quickly, start jumping out and stuff. At nighttime, I will cover them up with this horse blanket that just, keeps the wind out or anything and makes it dark in there for them. And once they're this size, you need to let them out so they can run around and flap their wings and jump and stuff. It's like recess. They need a little exercise. And I just keep a close eye on them because if you don't, they're still very vulnerable and very fragile, and they will disappear very quickly. I want to show you how I keep the tub when they're this age. I switched from shavings to sand. And I put some diatomaceous earth in the sand because at this age they start to do their little dust bath, and the diatomaceous earth mixed in with the sand kills any bugs that might be there. Also, what I do is I add some of these sticks like this because they learn to jump up on them and they start perching at night, and that's where they'll sleep. I also have a water bowl that's bigger now because I want it to last the whole day, and I put a rock in it. Let me pick this up just so you can see what it is. This is the bottom of a vinegar bottle, a gallon vinegar bottle, and I just use a X-Acto knife and cut it. It holds just the right amount of water. You have to put the rock in there so they don't move it and tip it over. It just adds a little weight to it. Make sure you don't make it too deep. And if it is too deep, that's another reason the rock is in there. Believe it or not, they will get in the water bowl and drowned, so you have to be careful. I've started feeding them crimped oats, which they love, along with the Chick Start. They still are on their unmedicated Chick Start. And as you can see, they eat the whole oats. And I also have started offering them a few mealworms, which they don't seem that interested in, and I'll kind of act like I'm the mother pecking them just to, maybe get them interested. I don't dump too much of anything out because I don't want to waste it. I just want to see, what they like and what they'll try and just offer them new foods. I'll keep them in this tub for, another month or two, something like that. It just depends how they look, how they're doing, if they seem healthy and happy. And once they outgrow this, I'll move them over to a bigger coop. I'll move them over to the flip coop, and then they'll have more room. The little bitty chickens love to go in my garden right here beside my barn, and I keep a very close watch on them, but they're just so cute. It's like they're in a little jungle when they're in there, and they're learning to look for bugs and stuff. So I let them go in here. And then if something scares them and, you get too close, they run back in there to hide, and you can't really see them. Look at, they just go in there. The biggest dilemma about the little biddies at this age is their size. They have outgrown the tub and they need more exercise, more room to grow. They look like real chickens, they're fully feathered, and yet they're small. They still need special care. That's why I'm gonna move them from the tub into this coop. This is like the in-betweener coop that they'll live in for a while until they get the size of an adult chicken. Then I will move them into the big coop. At this size, if I were to put them in the big coop, they're very vulnerable and the other hens will pick on them. And I just don't like that. I don't even like to go down that road. So that's why I do it this way and use this little flip coop, transitional coop, because that gives them time to grow. They're about 2 months old now. So maybe in 2 more months, they'll be the size of an adult chicken. Then they'll be ready to be put into the big coop and they'll stand a chance against the adult hens. Leaving them in this tub creates too much stress at this age. What'll happen is they just get frustrated because they don't have enough room to move around. They're very active and they have energy, and they'll start turning on each other and picking on each other, and their health will go down and there'll be a lot of problems. They're very healthy now, as you can see. They look great. So now is the time to move them into a bigger coop. If I were to take the little chickens and put them straight in the big coop, they would get picked on. Those hens, for whatever reason, they don't like little chickens. And it's just, I think it's because they're so overreactive and flighty at this age. It just draws the attention of the big hens, and it's like practically certain death if you put these in the coop with the older chickens. They just will zoom in on them and just pick on them non-stop, 24/7. These little hens would not be happy at all. It would practically be torture. So I'm gonna leave them in here until they're the same size as adult chickens. Not the same age. The age has nothing to do with it because chickens can't tell time. They don't know how old they are, but they do go off the size. So when these reach approximately the size of the hens in the coop, that's when I'll move them over into the big coop, their final jump into the big coop. Running a homestead is way more fun and peaceful and enjoyable when you avoid problems. And that's what this coop does. And so I found this awesome wire right here. So I'm gonna redo the wire on my flip coop because I do love this handy dandy little thing, but I just wanna like toughen it up, like upgrade the wire on it. All right, so I got the sun fabric off. This stuff will last forever. This thing is years and years and years old, so this sun fabric is really handy around a homestead. So next I'm gonna get the roof off. I love the design of this coop because it's so handy and easy to work with. Yeah, it's just sturdy enough to keep the birds in. Okay, so I got the lid off and I got all the wire off it, which I'm going to set this aside now, and I'm just gonna keep going until I get everything off this, and I'm just left with the frame and nothing else. I'm gonna recycle this wire though. I'm gonna use it in my garden. My X-Acto knife is breaking. This is a great coop though. I love this coop. It is so handy. I use it for so much stuff. That's why I'm taking the time to redo this wire, because I just love this thing. So you can make one of these for your backyard. So many people write me and say, oh, they want to try chickens. They're just dying to try chickens. And I think this is the perfect coop to start with chickens. It's really, really easy to build because PVC is just cut it, glue it, stick it together. Like, so easy. Like, anybody could do this. It's really, really easy. And then it's just so effective. It works really good. And if you love chickens after you try them, a couple, just get 2, put them in this coop. And if you just love them and it's your thing, you could always build a second coop to make it longer, more room. Or you could just build a bigger chicken coop like Chicken Town. You got lots of options, but just start small so you can, get the hang of it and see if you like it. But you got to have a coop. That's the first thing. Don't get the chickens without having the coop first. I'm going to recycle this wire and use it in my garden because I have a little bit of a problem in the garden with the chickens getting in there because they're so naughty. Okay, so I make sure, since I have so many animals in the yard eating grass and whatever, that I get all these and put them in the trash. So the unique and very convenient is the word thing about the dimensions of this coop is the wire is the height. So if you start here and just wrap it all the way down around the end there and all the way back to this side and then just attach it, super simple. And then I'm gonna make the door, and the same thing with the top of the coop is the same thing. It's just the one piece, cut it to length and attach it. Now this is a tiny bit more, you know, a little harder to work with than the plastic wire fencing, but I recommend going with this in the first place. All right, so the next thing I do is I just unroll the wire, get it nice and flat. I use this big stone right here to hold it flat in the beginning. And then I place the coop frame right over the wire and slide it down here right to the end. And then I use my zip ties and I'm just gonna attach it all the way. You do not cut the wire because the wire is gonna wrap around this and then back down. It'll just be one piece, super easy. I'll show you how to do that, but let me just get all these zip ties on here. Building this little PVC coop yourself is actually easier than putting together one of those pre-packaged coops from a big name brand store. This one's easier to put together and it's just simple, practical, and it will last you the entire life of your chickens. You will not have to replace it because you don't have to worry about it rotting and falling apart. This coop can hold 2 full-grown hens permanently. Now I'm putting on this UV resistant sun fabric. It not only protects the chickens and gives them shade, but it also keeps the PVC frame from getting brittle in the hot sun. Now I'm going to show you how to set up the coop for 2 hens. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is open this big top door, so that way you can just get everything arranged in there really good. All right, so for every hen, they like to have a little perch to sleep on. So I made this little perch here because they just love to jump up and down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back here in the quiet, cozy corner at night. And I made it this height so they can walk under it and then they can jump on top of it. That way it doesn't like mess up the room. There's plenty of room. And if you just move it to the side a little bit, they'll walk around it, under it, and jump up on top of it. Okay, so you really don't want to clutter up the coop. Here is for the eggs, and I like to keep this near this little end flip door right here so I can collect the eggs easy. So you can just turn it this way facing you. So you can just open this little door when it's time and jump, grab your eggs. Also, I do have this water bowl. I love this size. And you might think, oh, well, for 2 chickens, it's a little on the large side. It really isn't, because it won't tip over if they stand on the edge. If the bowl's too small, they'll stand on the edge and flip the bowl and spill all the water. And you're just like, oh, constantly filling the water bowl. So this one's like heavy enough and big enough between the weight of the bowl and the weight of the water. If they step on it, it doesn't flip it over. Again, I like to keep this kind of near the door so, you know, I can fill it up with water easy. And then for food, you can just use whatever little bowl you have handy. And then as well, you know, you could sprinkle a little in there so they can pick around, because chickens love to pick around. Another very important thing for chickens is a dust bath. They like to take a dust bath, which is basically they like to roll in dirt or sand. So you can get a mixture of that, dirt and sand, and you can put it in this pan. This is a temporary thing. You don't have to leave this in there all the time. Whatever, once a day for an hour or so, or twice a week, like you'll figure that out yourself. You fill this up, you know, probably, I'd say 3 inches deep, because they like it kind of deep. And then you can just, you know, open it and set this in here. And they will love that. They will have a ball in there. They will get in there and they like go like that and get the dust all through their feathers and shake. And it's something every chicken loves to do, and they need to do that. So it's very important to provide a pan about this size so you can give them a dust bath. Okay, the other aspect is this little blanket I hang here, that's actually a little horse pad that's old. I like to do that so where they sleep at night is completely private under there. They like that. You know, they feel safe when they're up on the roost because this sun fabric is along the top and the back side and this end. So by hanging this blanket here, it makes this whole area private for them. It's like a bedroom.